The polar bear is the largest land-dwelling carnivore, with adult males weighing between 1,000 and 1,600 pounds and measuring around 10 to 15 feet in length. Its large body is covered in a double layer of white fur and a thick layer of fat up to 4 in, helping it retain heat in temperatures that can fall to minus 45 degrees F. There is no room for delay. One successful hunt can sustain it for many days, while failure can bring weeks of hunger. And today, which way will that moment turn? The polar bear is the largest land-dwelling carnivore, with adult males weighing between 1,000 and 1,600 pounds and measuring around 10 to 15 feet in length. Its large body is covered in a double layer of white fur and a thick layer of fat up to 4 in, helping it retain heat in temperatures that can fall to minus 45 degrees F. Each time they surface carries risk, because above the still ice, danger may already be waiting. The Arctic is home to 6 main seal species: ringed, spotted, bearded, ribbon, gray, and harbor. Their total numbers likely reach into the millions of individuals across the ice edge. This vast population forms an energy reserve that supports many predators. Among them, ringed seals, measuring 4 to 5 feet in length and weighing about 120 to 140 pounds, are common targets. They build small lairs beneath deep snow and maintain several breathing holes about 8 in diameter to access air. Each time they surface carries risk, because above the still ice, danger may already be waiting. But the approach does not succeed. The belugas react instantly, turning and diving out of reach in a fraction of a second. The bear avoids wasting energy. It leaves the rock and follows the channel for several more miles to search for another narrow point. This time, it relies on an ambush, when its sense of smell and hearing detect. The encounter ends quickly, cleanly, and without noise. Not every ambush is successful, but in a confined channel, timing favors patience. The outcome can shift within a single movement of water along the ice edge. The success rate for each seal hunt is only about 20 to 25%. Most attempts end in silence and hunger. If it fails, the bear must continue alone, walking more than 30 miles per day, sometimes for days without food. Every step across thinning ice becomes a test of endurance and energy conservation. On ice that continues to thin with the season, Each hunt becomes a delicate balance of energy, time, and opportunity. In that environment, there is no luck, only persistence and the ability to wait for the exact moment. Late in the Arctic summer, when the tide recedes on a roughly 15-hour cycle, channels from river mouths narrow like a funnel. White belugas, measuring 15 to 20 feet in length and weighing 1,200 to 3,500 pounds each, are forced to pass through tight gaps with strong currents. The bear selects a low, rocky outcrop, stands upwind to observe, studies the rhythm of the water, listens for breaths rising beneath the ice, and waits for the right moment to enter the water. When the pod moves too fast, it shifts to swimming along the channel's edge to pressure the group to change direction. The polar bear is a capable swimmer, able to maintain about 6 miles per hour over distance and hold its breath for several minutes, remaining steady against the current. But the approach does not succeed. The belugas react instantly, turning and diving out of reach in a fraction of a second. The bear avoids wasting energy. It leaves the rock and follows the channel for several more miles to search for another narrow point. This time, it relies on an ambush. When its sense of smell and hearing detect the pattern of breath beneath the ice, the moment for a sudden burst arrives. The strength of its paws and claws is used at exactly the right time. The encounter ends quickly, cleanly, and without noise. Not every ambush is successful, but in a confined channel, timing favors patience. The outcome can shift within a single movement of water along the ice edge. As late-season ice begins to break and drift, cold waters open new routes for narwhals, often called the unicorns of the sea. With tusks reaching up to 12 feet in length and body weights close to 3,600 pounds, they usually travel in small groups, moving along the ice edge in search of food, and at times approach coastal areas where polar bears may remain hidden. It is believed that encounters between these two species are uncommon, but still possible. When tides change, narwhal groups can be forced into shallow waters near shore. A polar bear may position itself along the ice edge, watch from a distance, then choose the right moment to enter the water, either to intercept or swim alongside to disrupt the group. However, in most situations, these attempts do not succeed. Narwhals are fast and powerful, capable of diving deep to escape. On rare occasions, a narwhal carcass may be carried by currents toward the shoreline. For a polar bear, this becomes an unexpected source of energy, helping it recover after long periods without food. In the cold wind and pale northern light, the scene is not one of cruelty, but part of the natural balance within the cycle of survival. Along the ice fields off Svalbard and in the Chukchi Sea, polar bears sometimes approach walruses, giants over 12 feet long and up to 3,200 pounds. With skin nearly 2 in thick and tusks extending more than 3 feet, walruses are formidable and not typical targets. Each encounter is therefore more opportunistic than planned. As summer ice breaks up, hundreds of walruses gather on large floes or sandy shores. The bear must choose its moment. Focusing on a younger or weaker individual who has drifted from the group offers the best chance. Yet, even smaller walruses can respond powerfully, often causing the polar bear to withdraw. On land or in water, the advantage usually lies with the walrus. Hunts of this kind rarely succeed. The rate is very low because adult walruses can mount strong defenses. However, a newborn walrus can be a valuable find, a rich source of energy that helps the polar bear sustain strength through many cold days. In this severe frozen world, survival belongs to those who make use of every bit of energy, where patience and adaptation are the only keys to enduring. In the harsh world of the Arctic, sometimes life is forced to choose the most difficult path. When extended melt seasons limit the ice and food becomes scarce, a polar bear may turn its attention toward its own kind. This is not common behavior. It is a survival response when energy is nearly gone and opportunities to hunt are almost zero. In these moments, an adult male may overpower a cub by using weight and speed to separate it from its mother, pushing it towards the ice edge. The mother's desperate resistance may not be enough to change the outcome. The chase ends in silence with only the wind sweeping across the ice. It is not cruelty or moral failure. In a world where energy is everything, such decisions come from the deepest instinct to stay alive. In the Arctic, morality is not measured by compassion, but by the ability to endure through the endless winter. On the ice-covered coastal slopes, reindeer, resilient grazers, cross windswept valleys in search of lichen. Their agile legs help them climb and run for many miles without stopping. Antlers act like twin hooks that protect the formation. During migration, the trails pressed into the snow can inadvertently become corridors a polar bear uses for an ambush. The bear's strategy is separation. An individual who drifts from the herd due to fatigue, youth, or a minor injury. On deep snow along high slopes, each step slows the reindeer. The bear regulates its breathing and closes the distance with short bursts of speed, and it is very hard to escape. In another case, when a reindeer is driven to the edge of a frozen lake, it may be forced to plunge into 32 degrees F water. There, swimming ability and cold tolerance help the bear draw closer. It gains control in the water and ends the chase, then brings it to shore, fast, controlled, and silent. The pivotal moment passes quickly. The bear gains control and pulls the prey onto land, prioritizes fat-rich portions to refuel, then buries the remainder under snow to avoid detection. A hard one results that demands patience, endurance, and a precise read of terrain. A testament to top-tier adaptation in the far north. From desolate ice margins to vast gray seas, the polar bear continues its journey, a symbol of strength, patience, and total adaptation. Every step, every breath tells a story of determination in a place where life seems impossible. If this journey has touched your sense of the Arctic's harsh beauty, leave a small sign like subscribe and continue with us into the next wild stories, where the cycle of survival moves forward with every breath across the frozen world.